When we first heard the name Toyota CHR, we all collectively said, wow, that's a weird name. And wow, that is a weird looking car. Well, fast forward to 2026, and we are driving the all-new 2026 Toyota CHR. It's still a pretty weird name, and it's something of an interesting car. It's now a battery electric SUV, sort of. It has a high ride height, but it's shaped kind of like a coupe. Now, it fits alongside the Toyota bZ and the bZ Woodland. This is supposed to be the sporty one. So we took that corner pretty nicely. It does make use of standard all-wheel drive and a dual motor system, good for 338 horsepower. Now, if you've watched our review of the bZ Woodland, you might say, wait a second, doesn't the bZ Woodland make 375 horsepower from dual motor all-wheel drive? Why would this be so much lower? Well, it actually uses a different rear motor, something that's, shall we say, a bit more economical or, less powerful. But it is a much tidier footprint than the bZ Woodland. And if you think of it as a crossover, which really it is, you're gonna be impressed by how low it feels, and it has a very wide track for what it is. It's pretty good to drive. It's not a sports car. I mean, honestly, it's like, can't hold a candle to something like the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, but it also doesn't cost nearly as much as the Hyundai Ioniq 5N. This one is right around $43,000 as tested, and the base SE trim should start at $37,000 before the $1,450 destination fee. The interior is super familiar if you've been in any of Toyota's other EVs. That's because they're pretty much all the same. You have the 14-inch touchscreen. It's really big. It's standard. Below it, you have 2 standard wireless charging pads. I think that's pretty cool that Toyota is putting dual wireless charging pads in there. You no longer have to fight over the wireless charging pad with your partner or whoever is in the passenger seat. Hey, Elliot, good to see you. If you do need a plug-in, we've got a couple USB ports underneath the center console here. There's some open space, if you want to throw a bag down there. And then there's 2 more 60-watt chargers, USB-C port chargers in the back seat. So that's great if your kid is on their iPad or something, you get a little extra juice back there. These seats this is the XSE trim. There's also the base SE trim. The XSE comes with Softex synthetic leather, and it's like a micro suede that is like a little, I just worry that I'm gonna sweat into it if it gets too hot, and there is no ventilated seats in this car. But if you're like George Costanza and you wanna just drape yourself in velvet.
Velvet? It's the real deal.
Well, this might be the closest you can get to that in a modern vehicle. Door card has nice padding on it. This up here, it looks like it's hard plastic, but it feels pretty nice. This actually is hard plastic. I really like that the upper part of the dash, it has like a little bit of give to it. Like, I don't think it's gonna age terribly. It's not gonna develop a lot of creaks. It's good material quality, and it has like a texture to it. It's like visually very, very appealing. I'm still not a huge fan of how much space is taken up in this car by the center console, but at least it's not wasted space. You have those dual chargers. You have a nice, easy to understand shift knob in the middle. And then there are a few buttons down here, physical buttons for controls like your backup camera. You've got auto vehicle hold, electronic parking brake, an eco mode and a snow mode, and a button to turn the traction control off, which, even though this is supposed to be the sporty one, I'm not going to turn the traction control off. There are other channels where they'll do that. You can go ask them. The 2026 Toyota CHR also uses the same 74.7, kilowatt hour battery that you can get in the bZ, the larger battery versions of the bZ, and that comes standard in the bZ Woodland. It's good for 200 and 287 miles of driving range if you get the base SE CHR, and that one has 18-inch wheels. If you get this XSE, which has the larger 20-inch wheels, the range drops to 273 miles. So although you might think that those bigger wheels look really good, know that if you're buying an EV, they have a real range penalty. And heads up, guys, that exists on gas cars too. You know, it's just not quite as dramatic. If you do need to charge your CHR, the figures are not class leading. You know, there's some stuff out there, the Hyundai and Kia EVs, they charge really, really fast, but this isn't the disaster that like the old bZ4X was. This one will charge at 150 kilowatts. If you plug it in at home, you can get full charge in about 7.5 hours. Again, like these aren't world-beating numbers, but they're really usable. Like 287 miles of range, being able to charge at 150 kilowatts, hypothetically, on a public fast charger, or being able to plug it in when you get home from work and knowing that it's gonna have a full charge when you leave for work the next day. That makes living with an EV a lot easier. So that's a huge step forward that Toyota has taken. You know, their first kind of generation of nationally available EVs, specifically the bZ4X, that's literally the only one they had. It wasn't competitive. And now, maybe it's not the leader, but it's definitely competitive. So earlier in this video, we talked about how the original CHR was something of an odd duck, and the new CHR, well, visually, it's also a little strange. It is maintaining that coupe high rider style, I suppose, what Toyota's going for here. And as a result, like it's definitely a crossover, but it's sort of sporty. It has that sloping rear end. Let's start at the front though. We do still have a very, very similar front to the bZ and the bZ Woodland. You got those hammerhead headlights up there. Really the only major difference is this lower grille portion. This is different on the CHR. It's different on each of them. bZ, bZ Woodland, and CHR, they all have their own kind of unique style there. We do have a blacked out Toyota badge up front, and then along the side, you're gonna notice this has the 20-inch wheels because it's the XSE. I think the wheels themselves look really cool, but I might go with the SE just because of the 18-inch wheels. You're gonna have a little more sidewall. It's gonna be a little easier on your wallet as well when you think about the extra range you get. Speaking of range, we have the Tesla style NACS charge port right up front. So nose in at those charging stations. And then I noticed that the sound when I close the front doors, a little hollow sounding. I didn't love that. I do kind of like how Toyota has brought back the integrated kind of like C-pillar handle here. This is a callback to the original CHR, and I think stuff like that is pretty cool. That's kind of like a if you know, you know. Speaking of if you notice, we have a lot of spoilers. You got essentially almost 3 spoilers on one car because we have these high roof mounted pieces. They're kind of split, so you got one over here and one over here. Then you have this ducktail spoiler. And then of course at the back we have this tiny little Toyota logo. No big Toyota letters anywhere. They're just letting the logo do the work. You've got your BEV badge, CHR, and XSE, nothing super special there. Now, the trunk, largely because of that sloping roofline, is a little tight. It's about 25 cubic feet. I think it's 25.3 cubic feet of space back here. If you fold it down, it's 59.5 cubic feet of space, which is a little more usable, but still not a massive, massive vehicle. I have to be honest, each individual angle of this vehicle, I like quite a bit. I think the back looks good. I think the profile continues to grow on me. And of course the front end is fairly attractive, definitely inoffensive. It's just how all the pieces blend together. It never quite made sense to me, but let us know what you think in the comments. Do you think the CHR is a great looking car, a good looking car? Maybe go back to the drawing board. We want to hear from you. One feature you're going to see in every CHR is this 14-inch touchscreen display. It is really sharp, although you will notice on a bright sunny day, if you have it in dark mode, which definitely looks better, it is covered in fingerprints. And if you put it in the lighter background, you don't really see those, which is why I didn't see it before. But now that it's in dark mode, I don't love that. What I do love is how simple it is to use. Now there are these icons on the left here. Those are static, they don't go anywhere. There is no home screen, but everything you need is really easy to get to. So for instance, we have this icon for the car, and you can get to things like your driver assistance tech, and there's a lot of it. This car is loaded with safety systems. It's all part of Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. If you go back in, you've got things like trip information, your charging schedule, which is showing empty for me right now. Heads up, there's like no miles on this car. There's a all-wheel drive display, so you can see where the power is going on each wheel. I just love stuff like that, and it's really easy to get around. Obviously, you have your music, a little Jerry Garcia for you, and of course, we have wireless Android Auto. Looks really good. I have Google Maps up right now. Little Jerry Garcia still. Easy enough to get back into the Toyota screen. We talked about some things like the wireless charging pads. I really like that. This is the XSE, so it comes standard with the JBL 9-speaker stereo. The SE trim does not have that upgraded stereo. It's a no-name 6-speaker unit. Still sounds pretty good though. And then the steering wheel is really well laid out. It's kind of an ugly wheel, but it's really understandable. So you've got physical buttons on the wheel, none of that haptic stuff. Easy to tell what you're doing. Really clear physical buttons for like your odometer or like your gauge brightness over on the left. And then you've got physical buttons for things like your automatic high beams. Just a lot of hard buttons. Toyota does a great job with really tactile, easy to understand tech. Now the screen is really flashy. Everything else really easy to understand. Big fan of all of that. The rear seat is a little cramped, but it's not terrible. My knees certainly have plenty of space. Not a ton of room for my feet. I'm about 5'10" and a half. Maybe we could say 5'11", maybe. And this seat is set for my height. So you can see, you can definitely fit a full-grown adult back here, and because it's an EV and there's no big hump for the center tunnel, even in the center seat, it's a little tight, but you'd be okay in a pinch. So maybe 3 wide, but probably more comfortable with 2. We do have the center armrest here with 2 cup holders and this extra cubby in case you want to like throw a phone in there maybe. I always like when it doesn't flop down against the seat. Seems like a little testament to build quality. More of this like micro suede in here. Again, not sure I love it. I do like that you have 3 setting heated seats on the outboard seats in the back of the CHR. There's more plastic back here than you're gonna find up front, but that's pretty par for the course. We also have these all-weather floor mats, although I'm not certain if those are standard. Overall, given the vehicle's profile, I kind of expected it to be tighter back here, but it's certainly livable. You know, wouldn't make a terrible Uber ride. Oh boy, it is kind of tricky to get out of the back seat because of how much the wheel well cuts into the entrance and egress point there. But let's talk about price. $37,000 to start, plus a $1,450 destination fee. This one, as tested, $43,000, including that destination fee. That feels pretty competitive, particularly given a pretty good power plant in there, 338 horsepower, and there's an element of style. If it works for you, it works. You know, it's trying to be something unique, trying to be something different. I also think you get pretty good tech, you get great safety. The CHR is an interesting value proposition. So thank you for watching. You can read our full review on CarGurus.com, and as always, don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think of the 2026 Toyota CHR in the comments section below.